Hello everybody, how are you guys? I wanted to share with you a real quick video about 3 fun facts about German Village in Columbus, Ohio. We're just south of downtown, and this neighborhood just across the freeway is called German Village. It's well known around here. It's former settlement of German immigrants who in the 1800s who created, like in many Ohio and upper Midwest and Midwest in general, and the United States in general, breweries and businesses and, horse stables and all kinds of things. So the buildings, as you'll see, are mostly brick, as are the streets. And it's probably one of the oldest neighborhoods in the city. Now, for a long time, it was just kind of, let's say, not developed and kind of dangerous. Some might say hillbilly. It was kind of hillbilly through here. But then slowly over time, starting I think in the 60s, it gentrified. And so now it's kind of known. See, it has the flower boxes. See the flower boxes right there? It kind of has almost a, not like snooty rich, but it's definitely upper middle class, let's say, area. But not snooty. It's really a fun area, really friendly area. But you can see the car, you can hear the bricks of the streets. Now think about how old these streets are, right? And look at this. Look at how small that brick building is right there. That house right there. And then you can see they added the roof on the left there to extend it. And then now you'll see newer developments that are also, I don't know if it's a city code or whatever, but this building here is obviously newer, but it's also made of brick to fit into the neighborhood. That building right there. But then it's connected to these older buildings here. I mean, when the Germans build a building out of bricks in the 1800s, it's going to last 1900 centuries. Thanos could not get rid of these buildings. But they're not all brick. Like here's one that's wood. Is that a wood? You can tell I have no idea about any of that type of stuff. But it's interesting, 3 fun facts. So the first fun fact is each of these buildings has a bar and built right into the building and a series of taps. The Germans drank beer, folks. And so the city has worked out a deal with Anheuser-Busch that anybody that buys a house down here gets free beer that gets flowed into those taps in their basement. Or if they don't have a basement, usually it's in the foyer, or sometimes it's up on the roof. It just depends on what part of the 1800s it was developed. Free beer if you buy a home. You have to buy a home, not rent. You have to rent. You can still get the beer, but you have to pay for it. Secondly, the flower boxes. If you've ever known any Germans, I'm German. I grew up in a German descended household. Very thrifty, very thrifty. Anything that can be used and reused, they're going to do it. So any of these flowers that you see in the flower boxes, right there, okay, those people have chosen to go with plants, I guess. But let's say it is in 1875 and it was full of flowers. Well, if Grandpa died, they took those flowers out of the flower boxes, took them to the funeral, placed them around him during the wake and the funeral. Then they took the flowers back and put them back in the flower boxes out here on the street, facing the street. That's just the way the Germans do it, you guys. I don't know. They gotta use and reuse. And that's how it was kind of in our household. Now we didn't speak German. I mean, we were American, but you can't get rid of that thriftiness in 1-2 generations. Probably takes 9, 10. Probably 30 generations. So, and the final thing is, I lived here in this area in the 80s, and I probably went through 17 transmissions on these brick streets. So the final fun fact is that German Village has worked a deal. The city of Columbus has worked a deal in the German Village Commission that everybody that lives in this area, you get a credit, depending on how long you've lived here, toward a new transmission. So if you lived here a year, you get a free transmission. If you lived here 6 months, they'll pay for half of it. Because what they want is they don't want people to shy away from living down here just because they're losing a transmission every 12 months. Okay? And, you know, they're right there. Like this scene right here is probably somebody's transmission fell out, is my guess. Right? And, yeah, see, there, you can see the transmission on the ground. Yep. So that's a good example right there. The transmissions fall right out because you're driving on these bricks. And that's the only reason I'm holding the camera, which I typically wouldn't do. But you have to have some absorption of all these bumps. And, you know, there was, I don't know if they didn't have asphalt back then or asphalt technology, but every one of these streets, 95% of them, some of them are been paved over, but 95% of these streets in German Village are bricks. I think they made these cement, okay, there's the Mohawk. That's a very famous, popular place that we would always go to eat lunch. Been there many times. You can say Old Mohawk, or you can say the Mohawk. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. We know what you mean. But I've been back here in 30 plus years. It's fun to see the old haunts. Well, there you go, guys. 3 fun facts. Beer in every basement, supplied by Anheuser-Busch to all homeowners, using the exact same taps and kegs that were put in 1870. You get a credit toward a free transmission. See, here's one of the roads that was paved. Or you get a free transmission every year just for living down here. And finally, don't be surprised if your German neighbor takes those flowers you gave them when their relative died and puts them in the flower box out front. Because that's how Germans roll.